At Queen's Park today, the Ford government gave a budget update and said the red ink on Ontario's books is now nowhere near the $15 billion the PCs initially claimed. Premier Ford made much of that so-called $15 billion Liberal deficit.
We have a $15 billion scandal on our hands, and we're going to get down to the bottom of it.
But today, the finance minister, the Treasury Board president, said last year's deficit was, in fact, $7.4 billion. The minister was asked if it's still fair to refer to that $15 billion figure.
We inherited what independent third parties said we inherited. Don't ask us, ask them. They said $15 billion. What we've done since then, and this is the public accounts are against the previous Liberal government's budget. So what we're doing is we've been working hard to obviously provide an environment and conditions for a growing economy.
Making for that lower deficit number, the government says, was growing economic and wage growth, not drawing on reserves, and the government spending less than expected on programs. It's something the ministers say should make Ontarians happy. But we've heard from many Ontarians who are not happy. They say that they're hurting because of the reduced program spending, as you put it. What would you say to those people today?
Well, I think what we have talked about today is the very difficult financial situation we found ourselves in, and what we were elected to do was to make sure that the priorities of Ontarians were reflected in the spending of government. What you've had for the last 15 years is essentially people spending $1 when they only had 80 cents.
The NDP says government cuts have gone too far. They got to do something to get the financial house in order, right, Sarah?
I think we can all understand that there's a deficit right now, but I don't think we should be making cuts on the most vulnerable people here in the province.
Where should the cuts be?
I think that they should be not handing out corporate tax breaks to the most wealthiest people in the province to the tune of $275 million or more.
The minimum wage has done well for the economy. You're touting how well the economy's done the job market. $14 has not been a calamity, right?
I can talk about one of my constituents who owns a few of the McDonald's in around Ajax, and the $14 minimum wage made the difference for him converting to technology. We've all seen those automated ordering outputs. So I suppose from his point of view as a business, it was helpful because it made the cost of buying technology to replace workers easy.
I think it's really disappointing to hear the minister talk about, his rich corporate friends that are benefiting from the fact that the minimum wage was frozen and again kept at $14. I think people across this province are very well aware that a $15 minimum wage would have helped increase access to, the services people needed.
Many questions when it comes to the budget situation. The deficit could, in fact, be lower by $2.6 billion than what was stated today, depending on how the government decides to include billions of assets in government co-sponsored pension plans.